Yeah, I'll listen to some like symphony shit sometimes.
Speaking of symphonies and big recognizable orchestras, do you guys want to get into it?
Yeah, you want to try it again now that my sound is working?
Yeah, let's do it. Hello and welcome to Plus One to Gaming. I'm Chris.
And I'm Eric.
I'm Billy. And Mark exists also.
Mark is playing as the DM.
Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. Wait a beat. And I'm Mark.
And we are jumping into our session of A Deep and Creeping Darkness, a Star Wars 5e adventure. Mark, do you want to transport us off into a galaxy far, far away?
Very much do. Hop aboard the starship, gentlemen. So in our last session, everyone received a recall home message from Dostoga Deepground Galactic, your mining-based employer. You know that you are headed back for reassignment after your last mission. And in our last episode, we saw our characters do a bit of self-reflection, which was some fun role play, and got to find out a little bit more about each of them and how they their motivations for things. And at the end, we were given kind of the theme of the arc, which is light always finds the darkness waiting. So right off the bat, I want to try something new and offer inspiration to anyone who wants to do a little recap of the last session from their character's perspective.
Okay, I can do it. So the last time we saw Gubt, he was aboard a starship leaving the mining colony. He had just completed a mission bodyguarding a low-level administrative governmental associate who had flown onto the mining colony for bureaucratic work. Gupt doesn't really care what it was. He knows what he was hired for. But on the way back, so it was the automated system that asked the question, correct?
Yeah, your EDG issued starship has a built-in like autopilot and basic astromech that was asking how you seemed distracted. He was asking how you were feeling.
Yeah, so Gupt's actually not piloting, he's riding, and he heard the astromech ask that question to the bureaucrat, which was very strange, but hearing that question made him remember a very dark time in his life where his main failure, where one of his clients, somebody he was ordered to protect, was killed by a force wielder, and he wasn't able to stop them, or he wasn't able to do anything. They just acted like he wasn't there, and it unnerved him so much, and that still haunts his dreams and his memories to this day.
Excellent. Awesome. Give yourself an inspiration for that. And that is a perfect segue to jump in. So, the executive you were with, his name is Diego Yin. He is actually the DDG marketing director. So, you are kind of following along with him down the corridor of the base station. Diego is angry, and he busts into an office kind of at the end of the corridor. You're following along behind him as part of you are his entire security detail. So as you come in, you see Diego walk up to the desk of Bidu, and he pounds his fist on the desk, and he says, Fee, I cannot believe that you are going to run me through this stupid and completely unnecessary meeting schedule just to find out that you're, firing me? Fee kind of looks down at his desk and shakes his head a little bit, like he knew this was coming. Well, Diego, yeah. We did have to kind of vet you once again. As you know, things are not good. Cuts had to be made, and I'm also sad to tell you we needed you back here because we're gonna have to take the starship back. That was part of DDG property. I cannot believe this. I've been with the company since I know, Diego, but we don't have any more money for marketing. Just how it goes. We need to dig now. All employees are turning in all company equipment for liquidation. Diego is not having it. He is just completely irate, and he reaches over and grabs Fee by the collar. Fee, I swear to all things holy that you put me out, I'm done. I'll march straight to Zerka Corp, and all of my talents, they can have them. They can just run you straight into the ground. You think things are bad now? You're gonna have to unhand me, or things will get ugly. Fee is calm, but he does not like being handled, and he kind of motions towards Gupt. Seeing as you're not an employee here anymore, you don't have a security deal, and you don't unhand me. He's gonna take care of this his way.
Gup looks towards Fee and then looks towards Diego and kind of casually brings his axe across his shoulder and nods towards Diego.
Diego turns around. He's like, oh yeah, okay. Well, let's see how the underling does. I'm your boss, technically. You're assigned to me. So how about you just take a step away? He shoves you on the shoulder, and Fee says, Diego, that's it. Take care of it.
So as soon as Diego strikes without remorse or anything, Gupt is going to strike him on his head with the broadside of the axe, doing specific non-lethal damage, just eliminating the threat as efficiently as possible.
Diego, stars in his eyes, just blinks a few times and kind of slumps to the ground. Not unconscious, but definitely dazed. Oh man, Gup, appreciate it. Can you just put him in the hallway or something? We've got business to deal with. So you drag Diego out into the hallway, and some other low-level guards take him and put him in manacles. So you come back in, and Fee says to you, Sophie says, thanks, Gup. I know your skill set isn't necessarily put to best use on these kind of internal crises. That's why we couldn't fill you in on all the details before you left, but Diego was a time bomb, and he knows how to use a holocall, if you know what I mean. So we had to get him out of here. We needed our best muscle we've got there with him in case he went sideways. Turns out that was a good call. But if you've got your data pad, I can take it and chip it in so we can download and start your debrief in a minute.
Yep. Nods understandingly. He's not concerned at all with the situation. Their internal politics is up to them. He's just doing what he's asked to do, and he hands his data pad.
Great. Let me just, standard procedure, go through your last mission and get your next assignment in. Shortly after, Aurick and RX arrive and find their way to the office they've been assigned to, which is Fee's office, obviously. As Aurick walks in, Fee sees him. Oh, here we go. The team's together. Nice to meet you in the flesh, Aurick. I think I was on the hiring panel that vetted you for the last mission, if I'm not mistaken, but wasn't able to meet you ahead of time. Tell me, how was your first DDG mission? Did we live up to our reputation?
Yeah, pretty much. I got my collar, and I got back in time for this meeting, I guess. What's going on here?
Well, we're coming to the probably most important part of at least my involvement, which is to say the bad part. Things are falling apart a bit, but called you guys in because I think we've got a good shot at taking what little resources DDG has left and putting them into this next mission. Glad that you're not too disappointed with your new employer. We do try to keep the missions varied so no one gets too bored out there in the rims. Let me go ahead and grab your data pad. I'll download your information as well and get you all tidied up from your last mission. Thanks.
He walks over and hands it to him. Is it a him? Is Fee a him?
Fee is a him, yes.
All right, let me plug this in here. Boop, 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 boop.
He chips in and starts downloading that information. Meanwhile, Bidu is traveling swiftly from the furthest reaches of his DDG-issued starship's range. He's still about 4 sectors away, as the others are making some small talk, waiting for the reports to come in and for Fee to do his basic analysis. The comlink sparks and comes on, and there's a small, horribly choppy visage of Fee Duvir floating above the controls in Bidu's ship.
Utinga Duma.
Fee uses kind of a well-known phrase that's a greeting in Rhodian.
I see you've got your recall. Appreciate the haste. Team's here assembling. I'm going to debrief soon, but listen, after you hit Atmo, go around to Hangar 2. There should be a spot in the back, kind of, the one between the dumpsters, and that weird the weird diagonal spot, I think, is open. You'll see it. Can you chip in your data pad to the DDGG link so I can go ahead and get a rundown of your ship and mission remotely?
Ming dong chai, zing ba tu no ki dunjun dai. So Bidu exchanges the greeting, and he says, "Oh, no need to upload anything. I already have it." And I think if you'll allow it, I think just in his tinkering, he's probably dug into and hacked into DDG systems and has everything on his data pad, just as a comical thing.
All right, yeah, sounds good. We've got enough to do here. I'll get these guys set up. You park and just bring the key fob with you when you.
Bodai, I will.
So, all right, so Bidu comes in, the other two have settled in, and Fee launches into his pitch.
First off, I want to say thanks for all of the work out there, everyone. DDG's grateful, and I appreciate knowing that the hires I've made are out there making moves, even if I just met some of you recently. Part of my team, and I appreciate you. Admittedly, this isn't a great time to meet for the first time for some of us. Anyway, I'm looking over the data pads here. We seem to have made a little headway. I mean, that is if old man Dastoga had his head about him at all, which doesn't. He's up in the bounties, sell the base station down airlock by airlock. Doesn't make any business sense. I don't think Diego probably agreed with me too, but the way it goes. I'm sorry to tell you this, everyone, but we've had a change of plans, a major change of plans. All the executives are out, fired, canned, banned, water. It's just me and the old man now, and I suspect this last grasp fails, this last thing I've cooked up, then we'll both be gone too. It's not that he doesn't appreciate anyone's efforts, just him, Well, I mean, I guess, Aurick, you don't know him, but anyways, he caught wind of another one of these crazy stories, and now I'm scouting half the universe, zero budget. Wilder the story, the better for him, and he's out here getting pretty weird on me. Been in 25,000 credits and some crazy ass mystic. Then it only got worse. Anyways, talking about credits, like I said, we're tight, but you guys are all that's left of the outbound crew, so that means I can still make good on your rates for now. He pulls up the debriefs. They've been analyzed by now, and he's got the performance metrics. I'll also need to reimburse you for the deposits on your starships. Hate to say it, but it's a fire sale, so we're selling pretty much everything to cover your egress or transport entry. We're not sure what all it's going to take. The ships, the station, it's all on the auction block, and we've financed a lot of it off as collateral already. But, I mean, all that's to basically say, don't complain about the rates. I was up front when you enlisted, and I'll pull up the records. I got to prove it to you. So,
Bidu asks, so with all of this, what do you need us for?
we need you to pivot into the next mission here. So that's it's a bit different than before. Our main objective is we've got to track down this story. Most of Dastoga's wild stories come from cantinas, starports, places he, sits around being a CEO having drinks, not out there busting rocks like the rest of us have in our careers. But he's got this crazy story, but this time I found out that apparently it's written down, which serves as enough proof for me compared to the last leads we had. So my plan is to send you guys to find this as proof. And then hopefully with the proof comes more evidence. And with more evidence comes some sort of path you can take to find us our next big strike. And maybe the story's true. Maybe there's a vein out there that can save all our jobs, make us all quite a pretty penny. Is that something you're up for, Bidu?
What is this story?
Yeah, sounds like we're going on a wild rump rat chase.
Could be. I mean, the last 10 missions more or less were. I think we spend more than we ended up getting out of anything we found on those planets and in the other sectors. But we'll get to that. But really quick, I gotta do some housekeeping on this last mission. So looking over the data here, I'm just gonna pay you out for that, and then we can start the new contract. We can't have multiple contracts at the same time in the system. So for your last missions, we're gonna roll for credits. So Gupt, you rolled 2d4, and that's times 10. Oh, I forgot that part. Yeah, 2d4 times 10. So that's how many credits you get. Aurick is 5d4 times 10 credits. Bidu is 4d4 times 10 credits.
Aurick's rolling in the creds.
And then, all right, well, I can give you back your deposit here. So let's see here, 10 credits each, deposits on the ship. Man, those were bad ships. You guys got really ripped off there. But you can have those 10 credits back. Everybody's stuff pretty good, so take those extra 10. And it's also, it's DDG policy for me to ask if there's any outstanding issues, concerns, or questions from soft-bodied employees returning from off-base assignment. If you consider yourself to be a soft-bodied sentient being, you're formally asked to present any outstanding issues, concerns, or questions at the time, after which your contract concludes in good standing and eligibility continues. DDG appreciates your work. All right, so we got that out of the way. But you guys were asking about the next mission, and well, that's why we're here, so it makes sense. So we've tracked down this story. Story supposedly written. I need you guys to go find it. That's where things get weird. We had to bring in an outlander who claims he knows where the book's found, where it can be found. I'm going to have to call him in. If he jumps on the interhollow communicator, we're ready. You can send him in now. In a moment, a mysterious outlander comes in. He's tall, gaunt, has kind of long, spindly fingers, wears
kind of basic robes that are finely appointed and elegant. He's got a big kind of bulbous head, big black eyes that kind of twinkle and swirl a bit. And he's an intimidating presence and kind of makes you feel a little uneasy just when he enters the room.
So our Outlander here claims that he's tracked the book to a location through his mystic power. He's able to tell when this story's been passed around or read because it shows up in his abilities. He can feel the reader's pain and their excitement and fear of the storyteller in this tome. And somehow he's honed in on it. And he can get you there. But it comes at a price.
Zingno na pudu. Sounds like a bunch of bantha poo to me.
Yeah, I'm not one for the Force BS myself, but without him, I feel like I'm sending you with no hope to find anything. And he showed me the coordinates. There's definitely something there. I think it's worth checking out. And I mean, I'm embarrassed to say, but it was worth it enough that I went with him for his silly Force-based ritual.
As soon as Gupt hears you use the word force, he stands up a little bit straighter. He takes his axe off his back and holds it in his hands and is a little bit more guarded and on edge at this newcomer.
Wakara borakai kuroki no doboki. Be careful with your words, friends. Seems like this one is not keen on Force users.
He makes my skin crawl. I'm a little bit trepidatious of it as well.
The Outlander is surprisingly calm, even though Fee kind of openly talks about how comfortable he is.
So the deal is, I went along. Honestly, I got to save my job. So he told me he needs, basically, I've got to give him access, say, and let him record into his book of woe. Terrible memory of mine was odd and painful, like having a dream, but you were awake. And this tome, once he's filled it, he says will get you in anywhere you need to go in order to track down the story that we need. Of course, there's a catch. There's a few pages left, and we have to fill them up. So, unfortunately, I've got to ask for you guys to participate in his strange ritual. And I did it. I was fine. And it's a lot to ask, but it's going to get you entry where you need to go. So, right off the bat, I guess we need to talk about how comfortable we are here.
If you want to pay me to sit on some ritual and spend all of your last money on this, fine by me.
The Outlander seemed overly excited at your willingness. And when he speaks, it's almost kind of like a strange, spidery kind of speech. But he is glad that you are so willing and asks if we can begin right now.
It's more ambivalence than willingness. But Bidu has no problem with this.
Not really interested in telling my story to this creepy Bith. Is this really necessary?
Truth be told, I don't know. But from my perspective, yes. If we don't finish this mission, I'm going to have to let you all go. And unfortunately, we're not going to have any funds to even get you off world. So we're in a situation where I feel like the old man might shut everything down, and if we end up stranded, it's bad news.
并诺杜马达诺多基沃多shai. Assuming you have the funds to pay for our service beforehand, yes?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a setup for this next mission. That's why we're selling off starships and selling down the airlocks on the base. Luckily, my airlock and office here is slated as last to go because we're still operational. But yeah, we've financed the next few days to get this mission done. But if you guys don't find what we're looking for after that, that story doesn't turn out to be true and doesn't lead us to some sort of vein, then when you get back, we're paying you out and we're gonna have to part ways.
Bidu nudges Aurick. Tell a story. Easy credits, no problem.
So Gubt turns towards he points towards Bidu and Aurick, crosses his arms, nods, but then points towards the Bith, makes a weird gesture with his fingers, shakes his head no, and you get that he's signaling to you. I'll guard these guys if you ask me to, but I'm not doing anything with the Force.
Yeah, in my experience, there's no such thing as easy credits. There's got to be a hitch somewhere. I mean, I'll talk, I guess, but I guess the real work comes when we get out there looking for this book.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I kind of thought this was the easy part, but that being said, I'm not the one in the field either, so I get it.
Sometimes pulling a blaster is easier than talking.
Well, good news is not really that much talking. Outlander looks like he's ready, so maybe he'll feel different after Bidu volunteers here.
The Outlander has approached you, Bidu, and he's holding out his hand, not menacingly, and not necessarily to hold it gently either, but he wants your hand.
Bidu extends it.
So when you take his hand, you feel a strange sensation that starts in the base of your skull. It's kind of a mixture of a body sensation, but mostly it feels like he's tapping into your mind. So your thoughts race a bit. You see some flashes of happy moments in your life. They're replaced by sad or tragic moments randomly. And let's see. Your thoughts race for a moment, and eventually they, for some reason, focus on a memory of rage.
That's appropriate.
So, if you would, role play. Whether you want to speak it out loud is up to you. It can also be just kind of an internal memory scene played out. That's up to you. But role play based on his roll of rage on the fear table.
The moment, I imagine it kind of like him replaying it through his own eyes, or is it like more of like a third party watching it like a camera, would you say?
Totally your call. I'll let you get creative. To me, it would probably be like a dream, so it might even shift between perspectives.
Yeah, because dreams are weird that way. Yeah, I think he's observing himself as he's coming to the realization that the person he thought who was his mentor, the senior Republic scientist, had actually betrayed him. And he's scared, he's trying to get out of this situation, but when he discovers that, he has this and he's a very calm Rodian. He doesn't really have strong emotions, but this uncontrollable rage just overcomes him, and it was seared into his mind because it was such a powerful emotion, but also just a very tragic relationship that came crashing down on him.
Yeah, did that rage push him towards an edge of anything, or
It definitely caused a lot of his trust issues. So he's a lot slower to trust now. It also, he was on a track to become, a talented and successful Republic scientist, and that was all taken from him. So like rage of the loss of what could have been, like now he has to be a criminal. And it's not like he wants to be a criminal necessarily, but that's like his only option at this point. So like all of these things, just feel like when he tries not to think about it, but when he does get mad.
The Outlander closes his eyes and seems almost fed by this painful memory, and he busts out his quill, and with his eyes closed, his head's kind of rocking back and forth as if he's rolling it around and figuring out how he's going to inscribe it, which he does. He seems proud, we'll say, to have collected this memory from you. And he kind of bows from the shoulders towards you and releases your hand. And you feel a sensation that feels quite good, actually, of like tingling in your body as you kind of rush back into your full consciousness.
Bidu's kind of taken aback because he doesn't really believe in he believes in science first and foremost. Could he, as he wants to, he's like kind of trying to figure out what happened to him because he's just naturally curious. Could he kind of like reflect and kind of understand what happened to him?
Yeah, roll a perception check. So Bidu is, cultured in the galaxy. So you recognize that this is some mechanism of the Force that was employed on you. And you also know enough about the Force and how people wield it that although this was invasive, it's not, what's the word? Aggressive or, it's not an attack. It was a willing, because you were, participating. It was a willing exchange. So you don't feel like anything's been taken from you necessarily.
Back to Fonta. That was unsettling.
How's your brain, Bidu? You scramble?
No, dana for non mata. I seem okay now. A little tingly. Very strange.
Yeah, truth be told, I kind of wanted to do it again just because of the rush coming back the first time I did it.
Zang bang lo da. It was nice at the end.
The Outlander turns to you, Aurick, takes a step closer, and does the same sort of menacing hand gesture, asking for access to your mind.
She kind of gives him a side eye and hesitantly puts her hand out. Does she need to take her gloves off? She takes her glove off because she doesn't know.
I don't either, but I love it. You can have inspiration having taken your glove off. He once again takes your hand. You feel a strange sensation sweep over your mind. And he watches as scenes play out. You see your childhood and young adulthood. Roll this. You seem to, for some reason, get latched onto a memory of betrayal. Please role play a scene from your past.
When Aurick's never been fully betrayed by another being, but she did feel betrayed by her own body and abilities. She was a star cadet in the Republic Special Forces, pretty much slated to become a squad leader for her tactical mind, her great weapon skills, and on a routine training mission while jumping off of an APC, broke her leg. Yeah, a short jump that she's done 100 times. And the Republic forces could fix it to an extent, but the damage was done enough to her body that she was discharged from the military. and that was, she saw that as her ticket out for a long time. You can make a career in the military, you can get respect, you can do whatever you want, you can retire. And she's never really forgiven herself and her body for betraying her and taking that life from her. So she went to plan B, which was bounty hunting.
Awesome. So the Outlander sways, considers the moment, and scribes it into his book. He nods towards Fee and indicates that the rituals are now finished. He hands the book to Fee, bows again at the shoulder silently to all of you, and simply fades out of the room without much consideration for politeness or any kind of professionalism.
As soon as he leaves the room, Gupt visibly relaxes a little bit.
Wait, did he like astral project out of the room or did he walk away?
No, I just walked out.
Okay, I was like, I don't feel like any of us are as concerned as we should be if this motherfucker vanished.
Yeah. I imagine him like demurely kind of fading away.
Yeah.
Roll for initiative. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. Well, now that you're clued in on a bit more of the weird situation I found myself, we've got the Book of Woe here, as the Outlander described it. Terrifying. But anyway, he told me that the deal is you got to take it as a ticket of sorts. That had to be complete. So thank you for your contributions. And now I guess the book is done. And he gave me the coordinates to the last place where he was able to see the pain of the tome we're searching for appear in the force flow. We can get you there, of course. I'll just have to give you the data pad with the coordinates for the DDG dropship. So your first assignment is to take the Book of Wow to the assigned location and somehow sell, barter, I'm not sure, but make your way in to receive the story that Old Man Dastoga has heard is written down, which will hopefully lead us to our next big mind strike. And luckily, this story's been told enough that it comes with a name. It's called A Deep and Creeping Darkness, and once you find it, hopefully we'll know more about the next step. You can always hit me on your wrist DDG hollow communicator. It sends a direct line back here. So take the Book of Woe, set off on your mission, and check in if you find any more detail.
Zoda. Bidu voda. Meeting no chai. Selling something, leave that to Bidu. That's it for our first session of A Deep and Creeping Darkness, Adventure 4 and Candlekeep Mysteries. Join us next time as Aurick, Bidu, and Gupt head off-world to track down this ominously titled story. Will they find what they're looking for? Or will it really be a wild womp rat chase? Find out next week. Hop into your Daskoga-issued starship and punch in +1 to gaming.com into your nav system for more live play episodes, character creation tips, and DM resources. Thanks so much for listening, and may the Force be with you. Or without you in Gupt's case.